Welcome to Universal Man, where we turn your flight into fight so that you can master yourself, conquer your goals, and live on the front line of your life. My name is Mark Weppet, and I am here to help you sharpen your masculine edge so that you can cut through the resistance that's holding you back from being a man that you admire. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the 3 rewards that you need. Okay? And you need to learn how to consciously give them to yourself when appropriate. Because here's the thing, our brain needs reward. It's a huge part of how it functions, okay? But so often we reward ourselves unconsciously. And these unconscious rewards often undo the very progress that we feel that we are rewarding ourselves for in the first place. So if you don't learn how to reward yourself properly, you might actually just be ensuring that you just continue to tread water and never get anywhere. All right, so we've all done it. All right. It's like you do something good and then you reward yourself by then doing something bad. So, I mean, the typical example is someone who's been doing really good on a diet. And then what do? They go and like feed themselves a whole bunch of, junk food. They have a few Big Macs or whatever and completely undo whatever progress they just made in their diet. And I also see this a lot in my line of work with helping guys, quit porn. They will have themselves a nice big streak. Say they, set the goal. It's like, I'm going to go 2 weeks without porn. And then what do? They immediately reward themselves with some porn. It's like, come on, man, this is completely undoing what you're trying to accomplish. But, I've done it myself. It's just like, instead of doing continuing the good stuff and rewarding ourselves in another way, we reward ourselves in a way that actually undoes the progress, right? It's just an absurd thing, but it's just kind of how it works. And so the key to overcoming this is learning how to give yourself conscious rewards, okay? And I think in order to do this properly, you got to understand what kind of rewards exist. And I've been able to identify 3 major types. We've got indulgences, we've got recharges, and then we've got upgrades, okay? And learning what reward is appropriate is very important, okay? So the thing we typically think of is indulgence. That's what we think of as a reward. And an indulgence could be something like a, tasty food, like some kind of special food or meal, like an exciting event, like going to a show or a fair or, whatever it is that you find exciting, like a sporting event or something like that. Or some kind of stimulating activity like a video game or, surfing the internet or something like that. These rewards, obviously they range from big things to small things, but I'm talking about broad categories here. So when you do an indulgence right, what that does is, just introduces some pleasure into your life. It helps, live your life in a way that allows you to enjoy it, right? There's nothing wrong with pleasure. In fact, there's a lot right with pleasure. Pleasure is absolutely wonderful. And so like if you're taking the time to indulge in good food and, fun things and all that kind of stuff, then awesome. That's great. But the problem with indulgences is when they become kind of mindless behaviors. It's like, oh, I did 5 minutes of work, so I'm going to do 10 minutes of internet surfing. That would be an indulgence right there. But, that's super counterproductive, right? It just, prevents you from actually doing something that's really worth rewarding, right? It becomes kind of this compulsive sort of thing where it just ends up becoming an escape. And that's the issue with indulgences. And I think so many people, they get hung up with trying to quit their indulgences because indulgence is the only form of reward they know of. So it's like, if their goal is to quit indulging so much and they start succeeding, they want to then reward themselves with more indulgence, right? So I think being aware of the other kind of rewards that exist can really help you break this pattern. But before I talk about the other rewards, let's just talk about, healthy indulgence and what that might look like for you. I think kind of the key is to go with higher quality. Instead of just like eating a pack of Oreos, all right, go out to like your favorite ice cream place and get like, a really good, well-made treat, or like going to that favorite bakery and doing something like that. If you want to do it food-wise, like instead of going to McDonald's to grab a Big Mac, maybe you want to go to a steakhouse. Bring up the quality of it a little bit so that it's not more like just this kind of empty sort of escape that can be done in high volume. Instead, make it special. Making an indulgence special and meaningful. Maybe you go out with a friend or someone you care about or something like that, It makes the thing more exciting and more enjoyable. It's like going out to the movies with, a buddy rather than just like sitting inside and binging Netflix. Those are, two different tiers of indulgence, and those little things, they definitely have their place, but you want to be intentional about them. And then the other thing is make sure if you are choosing an indulgence reward that it doesn't undo your goals. Okay. So like maybe if you've got a diet goal that you hit, don't reward yourself with food. Maybe you reward yourself with a different kind of indulgence if that's really what you're hooked on. Maybe it's like, you let yourself play some extra video games, or you buy a video game, or, something like that. Let it not be in the same category for the most part. And that's not to say you should never allow, if you're on a diet, it doesn't mean you should never eat something unhealthy, something more indulgent. It's just that maybe not when you're like in the weight loss phase and you're trying to be more strict. I don't know. You're going to have to feel it out because obviously there's a lot of nuance there, but hopefully those are some general guidelines you can follow. But in many cases, you're going to be better off going to one of these other kinds of rewards. So let's move on to the second one. So we covered indulgence. Now let's look at recharges. All right. Recharges are basically things that allow you to relax and recharge. And this is big. These things, I think, have been very much neglected. I think in our culture of constant stimulation, we've completely almost replaced the recharge with indulgence. It's like whenever we've got some free time or we accomplish a task, we jump on something stimulating, okay? A recharge is the opposite. It's not really stimulating as much as it is rejuvenating. So things that exist in this category would be like having a nap, all right? That's a baseline one that I think is fantastic. You work pretty hard, you have a nap. I've been trying to take a nap every day, and it's been huge because not only does it kind of celebrate like the work well done in the morning, like I'm trying to have it like, between 12 and 2. It celebrates the hard work I did in the morning, but then it also rejuvenates me so that I can keep doing more. So it fills me back up. So going for a walk is one, or going for a nap is one. And then next one I was going to say is going for a walk. Going for walks are fantastic. They let you get outside, especially if they're in some kind of nature, or I like walks in nature, and I like walks around town. I like being around people. There are different kinds of recharge. Sometimes being in the hustle and bustle of town, that fills me with some energy. Being in the, out in nature, that's kind of a deeper sort of tranquility. Both of them can be recharging, but know which one that you want. Listening to music, sitting down and really listening to music can be a great recharge. Going for a drive. If you want a more kind of special one, maybe go get a massage. I haven't actually gotten a massage. I hear people swear by them, and I'm sure it's fantastic. I'm sure it's absolutely amazing. And what else do we have? You could read. Okay, I think reading is a very recharging thing as long as it's not like a super taxing thing, just like reading for leisure. Yeah, you could argue that it's a bit of an indulgence because it can be stimulating, but it's not like the stimulants that exist today. Okay, so I would still count that as a bit of a recharge. And then sometimes you're gonna want to combine this stuff. Like if you look at a vacation, what a vacation is usually a combination of recharges and indulgences, and it's kind of like lumping them all together. And if it's done right, then you're going to come back, you're going to have been stimulated nice, but you're also going to have been recharged. And that's why vacations are seen often as like a very big treat. So when recharges are done right, they charge you up, and they make it so that you can continue toward your goals and keep doing more stuff that you want to reward yourself for. If they're done wrong, I guess they can become escapism. That's like the only way in which recharges can really be done wrong, is if you just keep sleeping and taking naps instead of getting stuff done. Okay. Obviously that's, not a good move, but I mostly don't see people doing that. I know there are some people who struggle with that sort of stuff, but as long as it doesn't become a escape and it really is done as a reward, well, then, I think you can't go wrong with a recharge. So let's move on to the third one. All right. And this one's actually probably my favorite because I'm so interested in self-development and progression. And this is upgrades. Okay. So here's the theory behind an upgrade. Basically, what you're going to do is you make some progress, you reach some goal, and then you allow that progression to then be reflected in another area of your life. So it's like, hey, I became a better quality human in this area, and so I'm going to reward myself by upgrading what I've got going on in another area. Okay, so for example, say you're a musician And, musicians are usually, pretty into their gear. They always want a new piece of equipment or something like that. But what you decide is like, all right, I'm not going to buy any more gear. I need to start making some music. And so you commit to, I'm going to put out a 4-song EP, and you do it. And it's great. And, you're really proud of yourself and you want to reward yourself. Well, maybe now it's time to buy yourself that new guitar you've had your eye on or something like that. Because, you brought yourself up to this level. And so now it makes sense for you to kind of expand and bring another part of your being up to that level. Obviously, you have to be, cost conscious to some extent when you do this kind of thing. But this kind of stuff really can get the dopamine going. Okay. So, I mean, like in my life, there's a bunch of areas that, I've got upgrades lined up for, but, I'm not getting them until I get the thing that I want, until I reach my other goals, like my financial goals or my goals with this business or that kind of stuff. And putting that on the other end can be really wonderful. So like my wife and I were going to be moving to a new place, and ideally, we want to start investing in nice pieces for that place because we're going to be there for a while. And a lot of our stuff is, furniture isn't, the highest quality or whatever. So we want to upgrade it. Well, if I hit a business goal, maybe we'll buy ourselves like a new desk or something like that. Like, and continuously upgrading, not only does that have a practical benefit, because a lot of times the upgrades you'll pick will be practically useful. They will also, they can provide an aesthetic upgrade, an aesthetic boost where you're energized and, pumped because you're surrounded by stuff that you like and you really, enjoy using. It's basically, it's all about keeping the energy flowing. And very often, if you're selecting good upgrades and you're investing in good upgrades, these things, they can actually fill you with more energy than, an energetic surplus, meaning like the amount of return you get far outweighs the cost of the item. Okay. So let me give you an example. Like I used to have like a really crappy desk chair like years ago. And I decided like, all right, well, I'm actually going to get one that doesn't hurt my back. And it was expensive. It's actually the one I still have, it's beat up and dead, and I'm going to have to upgrade again soon. But I remember it was like back when I was like 22 or 23, I spent like $300 on this chair. And that was like an insane amount to me, but I was going to be in it every single day trying to like make this thing, make my business happen. And the payoff in terms of upgraded comfort and all that kind of stuff, it was a big deal. And learning to identify those key points of, that are going to be good upgrades and good rewards, that's really critical, because this is where it gets into kind of like the mindset of things, especially in just rewards in general. Because like the big issue is a scarcity mindset. It's this idea that I don't have the resources to reward myself. And, fair enough, you may not have the resources to go buy yourself a Corvette. That's fine. But you need to do something, okay? Because if you're constantly just trying to progress without any kind of celebration, without any kind of reward, then that's like, in a lot of ways, it's like a snake trying to get bigger without shedding its skin, or like a crab or a lobster trying to get bigger without shedding its shell. It's like you need to constantly shed these elements and bring more energy in. It's like this kind of expansion process. And if you are properly selecting the right kinds of rewards, then you're constantly going to be being filled up and energized. All right. And that's really the key here. Energy is more important than money, I think. Obviously money matters and it's kind of a representation of it, but you can't underestimate the power that, psychological motivation offers you. And I think so many people, they're very money conscious, but energy dumb. And because of that, they play in this scarcity mindset, which ultimately holds them back and keeps them playing small. And anyone who's really gotten, anywhere, they understand that there's got to be a free flow of motion, free flow of energy, free flow of, resources. And when you get that movement going through proper rewards and proper goal setting, and, obviously you got to set the right goals and get the shit done. But, if you do this right, then things just start really, really spinning along much more rapid than maybe you could imagine. So that's what I got for you guys today. Hopefully you found this interesting and maybe learned something. Let me know how you want to reward yourself and tell me the goal too. in the comments below. But so yeah, that's what we got. If you like what you see here, make sure you check out my Patreon, because I've got a community on there that I've been building. It's been going really well. It's really great. But other than that, yeah, stay sharp, and I'll see you in the next one.